This is the new SEAT Ibiza.
Yeah, seriously, it's new, or at least updated, for 2026. With changes outside and in, SEAT's smallest car has been freshened up in its fight against long-standing rivals like the Clio, Corsa and 208. And to stay competitive, the updated Ibiza's starting price has had a subtle bump to £20,995.
The changes on the front of the Ibiza are just as subtle, although they are sporting again. For example, we have the same angular headlight changes with the day running lights inside, and the grille is also quite racy. It's got a bit of a 3D texture to it as well. And yes, the changes at the back are very simple again. You're going to look in the tail lights to see the biggest ones with that slightly more angular light in there. And yes, there's some sporty black plastic, complete with fake exhaust as well.
And surprise, surprise, the interior is also only lightly tweaked in the design sense. But there are some key differences to rivals that I think count for a lot in 2026. Firstly, even the humble Ibiza 1 litre that we get in Britain can come with a pretty sporty interior, complete with bucket-style seats and flashes of racy reds in the details. In fact, much of the digital display ahead of you is inspired by the old Ibiza Cupra model, albeit with digital graphics where that car had analog dials. But best of all, this tech upgrade, which of course includes quicker reacting central touchscreen software with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto thrown in for free, well, it doesn't come at the expense of buttons. In fact, versus most of this car's rivals, the Ibiza's retention of manual controls means it has one of the most ergonomic interiors of the class. Some might say it feels dated in that regard, but for lots of us, having manual climate controls rather than touchscreen fiddly stuff is a big plus.
The interior otherwise has had a slight lift. The materials still feel nice. Yeah, there's lots of plastics, but they're all very soft and squishy if you like that sort of stuff. And actually, crucially, we now have a squishy upholstered bit on the door here. So if you rest your elbow here like I do, and here, your elbows aren't going to get sore. Otherwise, it's very familiar, but that's no bad thing. I mean, having an actual gear selector here in this automatic car is much better than buttons and all the touchscreen stuff you get in other cars. And the seats as well are comfy. Everything just feels like the best of the last decade, but in a really good way.
By the way, if you wanted to nab yourself a brand new Ibiza or its bigger sibling, the Arona, head to marshall.co.uk to configure your perfect car. Or why not pop into a Marshall store? Search Marshall SEAT to find your nearest one. Oh, and don't forget, you can also find a used car via the Cinch app, which can be downloaded for free using the QR code on screen. Cool, this Arona looks tidy, and spacious too.
Of course, this slightly shorter Ibiza has a subtle change in the back. It's not in terms of foot and knee room, because that's basically identical. It's in terms of headroom over here, and especially in the middle seat. But do you know what? I can still fit. I'm just under 6 foot and I've still got space. But if you really want loads of headroom, obviously the Arona's the one to go for. Yeah, obviously it's smaller, the boots here, but that's because the car is shorter and the roof is more angled. Still, you have a really deep boot floor, it goes back quite far, and it's really wide. Practical enough.
Now, we need to talk about trim levels and then engines, because, well, it's a bit unfair on us Brits. While we get 4 trims ranging from the just under 21 grand SE model to the top of the range FR Sport, which costs from 25k and looks really very lovely, especially in this shade of red, well, we only get a 1 litre turbocharged engine in 2 power outputs, either 95 horsepower or 115 horsepower. Yes, if you're wondering, both manual and automatic versions are offered, but unlike our cousins on the continent, we don't get a 1.5 litre turbocharged option with 150 horses, meaning the Ibiza can't compete with sportier variants of the Clio, Corsa or 208, although somehow this feisty little Ibiza still has some fun to offer from under the bonnet.
Because of the sporty, racy dials and even the racier seats in this FR Ibiza, I do feel a little bit more like I'm driving a warm hatch. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 115 horsepower 1 litre in this car, same as the Arona, is not the quickest, but it is quite punchy, and because I can click it across into a sport mode and I can put the gearbox in a sporty setting, or play with the paddles even better, well then I can actually have a bit of fun. It's a surprisingly punchy car. And because the ride is still nice and cushioned, and because, yes, don't get me wrong, it doesn't go around corners like a proper hot hatch, but because it's small on its toes, because it's light on its feet, it just feels nimble and easy to drive, and that's true in town or out on the open road. And you still get enough goodies to make it easy to live with. I mean, climate control, the aircon is super powerful in this car, and also you've got cruise control, a speed limiter, all of the things you'd need. Oh yeah, and adaptive cruise control as well. So this comes fully kitted with all the best of the 2010s, let's say, but none of the annoyances you get in some of the latest cars.
Now, I need to address an elephant in the room, because some of you will have been under the impression that the SEAT brand was to be replaced entirely by Cupra, and certainly that's what was hinted at by execs as recently as 2023. The plan, according to them, was to turn SEAT into an e-mobility brand for things like electric scooters and, maybe, small electric city cars too, leaving Cupra to inherit the full lineup of SEAT models and give them a sprinkling of even more sportiness. But, probably thanks to the delaying in restrictions on new petrol cars across Europe, it seems there's life in SEAT after all. And that should be good news for SEAT buyers, as they won't feel like they're driving around in a dinosaur from a bygone era anytime soon. In fact, SEAT sees an opportunity to provide low-cost but still fun cars for many more years to a younger audience, and well, handily for the brand, the Ibiza has always been that sort of car, hasn't it?
This now holds a place of its own in the market. I mean, yes, the Hyundai i20 is really good as well, but this just feels a little bit more analog in several ways, and that, for some people, myself included, is a very good thing. So yeah, there's plenty of things you could pick up to say it feels old-fashioned. I mean, the manual handbrake is one thing, which I approve of, by the way, but I get that some people would like to move on to the electric brakes. And of course, the fuel efficiency in non-hybrid cars is going to be less. There will be, by the way, mild hybrid versions, but they don't join until 2027. So for now, it's going to be pretty basic in terms of powertrains.
Still, the SEAT's pretty basic engine lineup means compared with, say, the Renault Clio, which gets a proper hybrid setup, you'll have less power and less efficiency than rivals. But the Ibiza does hold one key advantage over even the most sensible of its competitors, Hyundai i20, I'm looking at you, and that's insurance cost. Because the Ibiza in its less powerful form squeezes into insurance group 2, meaning it's about as cheap to insure as the Vauxhall Corsa. As far as cars for tight budgeted or, more likely, new to the road drivers go, a SEAT Ibiza remains a safe option. Outdated in some ways, yes, but also uncomplicated and easy to get along with. And don't forget, it's one of a shrinking number of hatchbacks that can genuinely still offer this.
I think really these are going to remain great value cars with very few rivals these days, or at least that's going to be true for this Ibiza. Although I have to admit, I'd be going for the one in the FR trim with the red bodywork and those very lovely black and silver wheels. I think it looks fantastic in that finish. I think this one is a bit meh, isn't it?
Either way, is this not the best looking hatchback on sale right now? It's got to be up there, hasn't it? Although,
if you need more inspiration, well, we've compiled some of our favourite hatchbacks and also some of our favourite small SUVs into the videos on screen here. Get watching them and let me know what you would choose.